Natural and home remedies for poliomyelitis. Polio is an infectious disease caused by a virus. The virus lives in an infected person's throat and intestines. It is most often spread by contact with the stool of an infected person. You can also get it from droplets if an infected person sneezes or coughs. It can contaminate food and water if people do not wash their hands. Most people have no symptoms. If you have symptoms, they may include fever, fatigue, nausea, headache, flu-like symptoms, stiff neck and back, and pain in the limbs. A few people will become paralyzed. There is no treatment to reverse the paralysis of polio. Some people who've had polio develop post-polio syndrome, PPS, years later. Symptoms include tiredness, new muscle weakness, and muscle and joint pain. There is no way to prevent or cure PPS. The polio vaccine has wiped out polio in the United States and most other countries. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. At one point of time, polio was one of the most feared diseases in the world, as it not only caused paralysis but also led to death. This is not a new disease and has been bothering people for thousands of years. Polio is a contagious disease that spreads from person to person, direct contact with infected mucus, feces, mucus, or by contact with contaminated food or feces with another infected person. It is caused by a very infectious virus whole, poliovirus, PV. This virus multiplies in the gastrointestinal tract, from which it attacks the nervous system and cause permanent neurological damage to some of them. There are two forms of polio. Les polio, also called abortive poliomyelitis, occurs mainly in young children, and is the most common of the two forms. The disease is mild, and brain and spinal cord are not affected. Symptoms appear 3 to 5 days after exposure to the virus and include mild fever, headache, sore throat, vomiting, lack of appetite, and a general feeling of discomfort and distress. Major poliomyelitis is greater serious disease that develops in about 7 to 14 days after exposure to virus. Symptoms include fever, severe headache, stiff neck and back, and deep muscle pain. Some people experience temporary changes in skin sensitivity. Muscle spasms and a tendency to hold urine are common. Natural and home remedies for poliomyelitis. Muscle weakness and paralysis may develop quickly or gradually over time. Fevers occur, but paralysis not get worse later. The disease most commonly affects the strength of leg muscles. It can also affect the strength in the muscles of the arms and abdomen. When polio affects the strength in the muscles of the neck and throat, causing difficulty speaking and swallowing. The most deadly form of the polio causes weakness of the muscles in the chest needed to breathe. The virus can also sometimes affect parts of the brain that control breathing. When a polio victim develops difficulty breathing, they need machines to help them breathe through. Coriander seeds benefits. Coriander is a spice that adds flavor to different types food. But do you think is a good home remedy for polio as well? Well, it is, therefore spice up your meals with the addition of cilantro on your plate and protect yourself and your family from polio. Goji tonic. Tonic goji is not exactly an immune tonic, but contains astragalus and herbs that protect organs from damage during chemotherapy. Black pepper. Black pepper is not only a tasty spice, but is also a great cure for polio. Therefore, you can add pepper to your diet and make sure it's a regular routine. Physical therapy. The therapy helps minimize damage to the paralyzed muscles and help people regain mobility as acute illness resolves. Treatment of paralysis depends on what affected muscles. Measures to prevent urinary tract infections. If the bladder muscles not normally contract, the bladder cannot empty completely. This can lead to urinary tract infections. The use of catheters to empty the bladder may be necessary, and the long-term use of antibiotics is recommended in some cases.